Time for another hymn story. And today our hymn is another very well known and well beloved hymn called When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, I'll Be There. The little scripture at the beginning is John 11:25, and it says, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, yet he shall live. This old favorite was inspired by disappointment. James Black was calling roll one day for the youth meeting at his Methodist church in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. One name didn't answer, young Bessie, the daughter of an alcoholic. Crestfallen at her absence, James commented, "Oh God, when my own name is called up yonder, may I be there to respond." Returning home, a thought struck him while he opened the gate. Entering his house, he went to the piano and wrote the words and the music effortlessly. Years later, this song comforted a group of traumatized children in a Japanese concentration camp. In his book, A Boy's War, David Mitchell tells of being in a boarding school in Chefoo, China, during the Japanese invasion. On November 5th, 1942, the students and the faculty were marched from their campus and eventually ended up in the Welsheim concentration camp. Among the students was Brian Thompson, a lanky teenager. One evening, about a year before the war ended, Brian was restless, waiting for the evening roll call, which was long overdue. A bare wire from the searchlight tower was sagging low, and some of the older boys were jumping up and touching it with their fingers. "Whew, I got a shock off that," said one. Brian decided to try. Being taller than the others, his hand was drawn into the wire, and it came down with him. When his bare feet hit the damp ground, the electricity shot through him like bolts of lightning. His mother, who had been interred with the students, tried to reach him, but the others held her back, or she too would have been electrocuted. Finally, someone found an old wooden stool and managed to detach the electrical wire, but it was too late. At roll call that night, when the name Brian Thompson was called, there was no answer. David Mitchell later wrote, "Our principal and Mr. Houghton led a very solemn yet triumphant funeral service the next day. The shortness of life and the reality of eternity were brought home to us with force as Paul Bruce related that Brian had missed the roll call in camp, but had answered the one in heaven. How important it is for us to sing and know, when the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there." And it was written in 1893. And today we're going to listen to the Chuck Wagon Gang sing When the Roll is Called Up Yonder. Feel free to sing along.
When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and time shall be no more, and the morning breaks eternal bright and fair, when the saved of earth shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. On that bright and cloudless morning, when the dead in fire shall rise, and
thank you for joining me and have a wonderful day.